24 hours. That's what separated the dream from the switch. November 15, 1896. A Serbian immigrant sits in a New York hotel room staring at telegrams from Niagara Falls. In less than one day, his alternating current system will either light up Buffalo 26 miles away or prove Thomas Edison right. The stakes? The entire electrical future of the planet. What was going through Tesla's mind? What did he know that the world didn't? And why had he refused to visit the site until 4 months before this moment? But the path to November 15 required surviving Edison's betrayal, a laboratory fire that destroyed 10 years of work, and a battle against direct current that nearly killed him. Now midnight approached. The switch waited. The generators hummed at 5,000 horsepower each, 10 of them, 50,000 horsepower total. Water rushed through a tunnel over 1¼ miles long, 21 feet high, 20 feet wide. 345,000 tons of rock removed by immigrant workers between 1890 and 1893. 28 men died building that tunnel. Their bodies stayed in the rock. Tesla knew every number. This script is researched and factual, using sources from the April 26, 2020 Legal Legacy Historical Documentation published by Attorney Verified Archives, and the April 19, 2022 Big Think Scientific Analysis piece that cross-references Tesla Memorial Society primary records and IEE engineering documentation from the 1890s Niagara Falls Power Company itself. Now back to the information. March 13, 1895, 2:30 in the morning. Tesla's laboratory at 33-35 South Fifth Avenue in Manhattan erupted in flames. The fire started in the basement by the time the watchman, John Mahoney, returned from banking the subcellar fires. Flames ran along the office floor and up the partition walls. Tesla's fourth-floor laboratory collapsed into the second floor. Everything gone. His apparatus. His notes from the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. His photographs. His experimental equipment valued at $50,000. Not insured. The New York Times found him. I am in too much grief to talk. What can I say? The work of half my lifetime, very nearly. All my mechanical instruments and scientific apparatus that it has taken years to perfect, swept away in a fire that lasted only an hour or two. Charles Dana of the New York Sun wrote an editorial. The destruction of Nikola Tesla's workshop, with its wonderful contents, is something more than a private calamity. It is a misfortune to the whole world. The men living at this time, who are more important to the human race than this young gentleman, can be counted on the fingers of one hand. Perhaps on the thumb of one hand. The rivalry paused for grief. But only briefly. Westinghouse needed those generators running. The contract had been awarded in late 1893 after Lord Kelvin visited the Chicago World's Columbian Exposition on May 1st, 1893. President Grover Cleveland pushed a button. Nearly 100,000 light bulbs lit up instantly using Tesla's alternating current generators built by Westinghouse. Kelvin was convinced. Edison's direct current couldn't transmit beyond 100 yards without massive voltage drop. Tesla's alternating current could travel 26 miles from Niagara to Buffalo with minimal loss. The physics didn't lie. The contract went to Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company. Edward Dean Adams ran the Cataract Construction Company and the Niagara Falls Power Company. Adams had studied the problem since 1889 when he hired engineer Coleman Sellers to assess feasibility. Sellers sent Adams a 17-page report on December 17, 1889. One of the most interesting engineering problems ever given me to consider. Feasible. 103 men invested $2,630,000. That's $74.3 million in today's money. They wanted electricity. They wanted it transmitted. They wanted it profitable. Buffalo factories were using coal-fired steam engines to generate 50,000 horsepower daily. Ship that power electronically. No coal, no pollution. Just water and magnets and Tesla's rotating field. The International Niagara Commission was formed in 1890 with headquarters in London. They asked for proposals. Edison submitted direct current. Tesla's alternating current came through Westinghouse. The test in Germany in August 1891 proved alternating current could transmit 100 miles with minimal power loss. That settled it. On May 6, 1893, Adams announced the decision. Two-phase alternating current, Tesla's system. Lord Kelvin had cabled from London days earlier. Trust you avoid gigantic mistake of adoption of alternate current? Adams ignored him. The commission chose Tesla. Construction began. Dynamite, steam shovels, sledgehammers, 600,000 tons of rock, one mule cart at a time. The tail race tunnel stretched from above the falls to below, 7,000 to 500 feet of brick-lined passage. The water would drop 210 feet total from the forebay to the tail race. Potential energy converting to kinetic. Kinetic spinning turbines. Turbines generating electricity. The physics was simple. The execution was unprecedented. 20,000 volts for the long haul, Buffalo, Lockport, Tonawanda. The voltage transformation was the key. Direct current couldn't do this. It degraded. It built up heat in wires. It wasted energy. It risked fire. Edison knew this, but wouldn't admit it. His pride exceeded his physics. Public demonstrations. Electrocuting animals with alternating current to prove it was deadly. He promoted the first electric chair using alternating current to associate it with death. He tried to turn Westinghouse into a verb meaning electrocuted. It didn't stick. The public wasn't stupid. They wanted light. They wanted power. They wanted it cheap, and they wanted it far from the generation source. Only alternating current delivered that. Tesla knew it. Westinghouse knew it. Adams knew it. Even Kelvin eventually knew it. His X-ray shadowgraph work that predated Wilhelm Röntgen's December 1895 announcement by weeks. Tesla had inadvertently captured X-ray images before Röntgen even knew what they were. When he learned of Röntgen's discovery, Tesla wrote him and sent recovered pictures from the fire. Röntgen replied asking how he produced them. Röntgen congratulated Tesla on his sophisticated X-ray pictures. Tesla even wrote Röntgen's name on one of his films, but that work was paused. Niagara demanded his attention. The polyphase system was working exactly as his patents specified. 9 key patents in total: the rotating magnetic field, the polyphase alternating current motor, the transmission system. Everything hummed, everything aligned. But the real test was transmission. Could 20,000 volts travel 26 miles to Buffalo without significant loss? The mathematics said yes. The German test said yes. But this was America. This was scale. This was history. Now he was focused. The telegrams reported final preparations. The pole line from Niagara to Buffalo was complete. Wooden poles carrying bare copper cable. The New York Safety Insulated Wire Company furnished the lead cable for the underground conduit section. Guaranteed to stand 20,000 volts pressure. The terminal house at Niagara was fitted with lightning protectors. The transformer house stood on the opposite side of the inlet canal to the powerhouse. Transformers ready to step up voltage from the mammoth generators and speed it toward Buffalo. Then west along the south line of North Tonawanda Village for 1¼ miles. Northwest across private property to the east bank of the Erie Canal, near the foot of Hinn Street in Tonawanda Village. Then following the canal bank to Buffalo. The pole line met the conduit about 300 feet north of Bray Street. Underground from there, 4,200 feet to the power station of the Buffalo Street Railway Company. Total distance, 26 miles. The first 1,000 horsepower would go to the Street Railway Company. They had already placed orders. The local power company wanted 5,000 more. Demand exceeded supply before the switch even flipped. Tesla had signed it in 1888 when he met George Westinghouse and licensed his patents, $60,000 up front. Worth $1.4 million today. 150 shares of stock, $2,000 per month salary, worth $48,000 per month today. But the real money was in the royalties. As alternating current spread across the country, Westinghouse paid Tesla hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. By 1890, just before his 35th birthday, Tesla was a millionaire. $1 million in 1890 equals $25 million today. The bankers demanded it be scrapped or they would force receivership. Westinghouse approached Tesla, desperate. The company's fate hung on Tesla's decision. Westinghouse had won the Niagara contract. Westinghouse had stood by him through the laboratory fire. Now Westinghouse needed saving. According to multiple first-hand recollections, Westinghouse explained that bankers wanted the royalty clause eliminated. If not, receivership, bankruptcy, the end of alternating current expansion, the end of Tesla's vision. You will save your company. Those were the words witnesses remembered. Some accounts place this in 1891, others in 1907. The more credible record from historical analysis published in Kathy Love's Physics Journal in July 2025, examining primary Westinghouse financial documents, indicates that in April 1896, just after Tesla's laboratory fire when he needed cash to rebuild, Westinghouse paid Tesla a lump sum of $216,600 to buy out the royalty contract in perpetuity, worth roughly $5.4 million today. Both companies could manufacture apparatus covered by those patents without royalty payments. This allowed Westinghouse and General Electric to enter a patent sharing deal ending their lawsuits. If he had kept that $250 per horsepower royalty as alternating current became the standard electrical system across the world, conservative estimates suggest he would have become the richest person on the planet, the first billionaire. Today, those same royalties would generate billions annually for his relatives. But Tesla wasn't thinking about money on November 15, 1896. He was thinking about the switch, about Buffalo, about whether his vision would light up a city or fail spectacularly. Designed by McKim, Mead, and White. Stanford White himself designed the transformer building. Classical columns, brick and stone. The building said permanence, it said confidence. It said this is the future and the future is solid. His 1888 induction motor scaled to industrial magnitude. The polyphase system he had envisioned as a student in Graz, Austria, when he saw a Gramme dynamo demonstrated and realized the commutator was unnecessary. Alternating current could create a rotating magnetic field without brushes or sparks. The mathematics was elegant. The engineering was brutal. But Westinghouse engineers had executed it. Benjamin Lamb designed the generators and improved Tesla's original designs. Oliver Schallenberger developed the polyphase meters required for the power plant. William Stanley, Louis Stilwell, Paul Lincoln. Thomas Evershed, at age 69, supervised the water power engineering. His last major project. The team assembled, the work completed, the switch ready. Did he pace his hotel room? Did he calculate voltage drops one more time? Did he review the transformer ratios? Did he visualize the electrons flowing through the copper cables spanning 26 miles? Did he imagine the moment when Buffalo's street railway cars would lurch forward, powered not by coal or steam or horses, but by falling water, converted to rotating magnetic fields, converted to electric current, converted back to mechanical motion? Did he think about his mother Juka, who had told him during the lightning storm of his birth that he would be a child of light? Did he think about his brother Dane, who died when Nikola was 5, the brilliant 12-year-old whose death haunted him? Did he think about his father, the Serbian Orthodox priest who wanted him to join the clergy? Did he think about how far he had come from Smiljan to Manhattan to this moment? The telegrams kept arriving, final checks complete, transformers operational, lightning protectors installed, cable tested to 20,000 volts, no failures, the route secure, the street railway company ready, Buffalo waiting. The Niagara Falls Gazette prepared its headline. The turning of a switch in the big powerhouse at Niagara completed a circuit which caused the Niagara River to flow uphill. Poetic, but incorrect. Water doesn't flow uphill. Energy does. Potential energy to kinetic, to electrical, to mechanical. The laws of thermodynamics don't reverse. But the metaphor captured something true. Humanity was bending nature to purpose, not by damming the falls, not by stopping the flow, but by borrowing a fraction of its power and sending it elsewhere. The falls kept falling. The mist kept rising. The tourists kept watching. But now the river worked. November 16, 1896, midnight. The exact moment varied in accounts. Some sources say November 15 at midnight. Others say November 16 at midnight. Others say November 18. The most credible sources, including the Legal Legacy historical documentation, cite November 16 as the official date when the switch was thrown. But the preparations happened on November 15, the final 24 hours, the testing, the double-checking, the waiting. It required wires. It required transformers. It required infrastructure. Tesla was already thinking beyond it, but it was still his victory, his vindication, his childhood promise made real. Into the bare copper cable of the pole line, north from Niagara Falls, through the city, through the town of Niagara, through the town of Wheatfield, across Tonawanda Creek, through North Tonawanda Village, along the railroad right-of-way, west to the Erie Canal, following the canal bank, into Tonawanda Village, south toward Buffalo, underground through 4,200 feet of conduit. Into the transformer station behind the Buffalo Street Railway Company powerhouse, down from 20,000 volts, into the rotary converters, into the motors. The street railway cars moved. The engineering journals reported it. The world noticed. Within a few years, the number of generators at Niagara reached the planned 10. Power lines extended to New York City, Broadway ablaze with lights, elevated railways rumbling, subway systems powered. Even Edison's direct current systems converted to alternating current. The war of the currents was over. Tesla won, Edison lost, physics won, pride lost. The royalty contract was gone. The lump sum of $216,600 helped him rebuild his laboratory after the fire. But it was nothing compared to what he could have earned. Conservative estimates suggest he gave up $12 million minimum, $17 million by some accounts. Others calculate billions over his lifetime if the royalty had remained through the expansion of alternating current worldwide. By 1905, Niagara was producing 1/10 of the United States' electrical power. By 1920, hydroelectric plants provided 25% of all electricity in the United States. Every kilowatt hour generated by alternating current could have earned Tesla $250 per horsepower. The math is staggering. The fortune he surrendered is incalculable. John O'Neill's biography, written in 1943, claimed Tesla ripped up the contract in 1891 when Westinghouse begged him, calling it worth $12 million. But financial records show Westinghouse paid Tesla $216,600 in April 1896 for perpetual rights. The patent-sharing deal with General Electric followed. This allowed both companies to manufacture without royalties. Tesla likely needed the cash after the laboratory fire, but the gesture was still sacrificial. He could have negotiated temporary relief. He could have asked for a 5-year pause. He could have demanded better terms later. He chose permanent surrender. Why? He valued his friendship with George Westinghouse over personal wealth. He coveted a nation powered by his inventions. Westinghouse was the only industrialist willing to back alternating current at scale. If Westinghouse failed, alternating current expansion stalled. Edison's direct current might retain dominance. The world would remain tethered to localized power stations every mile. No long-distance transmission. No electrification of rural areas. No global grid. Tesla couldn't allow that, so he tore up the contract, saved the company, ensured the technology survived, sacrificed the fortune, chose history over wealth. But he also knew his vision would succeed. The Falls would power Buffalo. Buffalo would prove the concept. Other cities would follow. Other countries would adopt. Alternating current would circle the globe. His childhood promise would be fulfilled. The steel engraving he saw in elementary school would become reality. He would turn the power of the Falls into light. Not just light. Power, motion, progress. The modern world. What else ran through his mind? Did he think about the workers who died in the tunnel? 28 men, crushed by rock, drowned in water, suffocated in collapse. Did their ghosts haunt the powerhouse? Did their sacrifice matter to anyone besides their families? The Niagara Falls Power Company didn't memorialize them. No plaques, no monuments. Just 28 bodies somewhere in 600,000 tons of removed rock. The tunnel became their tomb. The power became their legacy. Tesla knew about sacrifice. His laboratory had burned, his patents had been surrendered, his fortune had been abandoned. But he was alive. He could start again. The workers couldn't. A place of power. A place of spirits. Now it was a place of turbines and transformers. Progress displaced reverence. Industry replaced ceremony. Tesla wasn't responsible for colonization, but his generators accelerated it. Electrification enabled expansion. Expansion displaced populations. The Falls still fell. But they fell differently now. A portion diverted through tunnels. A portion borrowed for Buffalo. The sacred became utilitarian. The timeless became measured in kilowatt hours. An immigrant who came to America with 4 cents and a letter of recommendation. He worked for Edison. Edison cheated him. He quit. He formed his own company. It failed. He dug ditches to survive. He partnered with Westinghouse. He succeeded. He lost everything in a fire. He rebuilt. He sacrificed his fortune. He powered a city. That was the story he told himself. That was the story the world told. But November 15, 1896 was more than one man's triumph. It was a convergence of capital and labor, of physics and engineering, of European knowledge and American ambition, of immigrant genius and industrial power, of natural force and human ingenuity. The falls had been falling for 12,000 years since the last ice age. The Niagara River had been draining Lake Erie into Lake Ontario, carrying 3,100. 60 tons of water per second, over a 160-foot vertical drop. The potential energy was always there. Tesla didn't create it. He converted it. He found a way to borrow a fraction without stopping the flow. That was the genius, not the power itself. The transmission, the transformation, the distribution. The transmission line complete, the street railway company waiting, the newspapers prepared, the backers satisfied, the contract torn up, the laboratory rebuilt, the vision clear. Tesla sat in his hotel room and knew tomorrow would change everything. Not just for him, for everyone. Electric light would become cheap enough for homes. Electric motors would replace steam engines. Electric railways would replace horse-drawn carriages. Factories would relocate near cities instead of near coal mines. Rural areas would eventually get power. The night would retreat. The modern age would dawn. All because water fell and copper spun and magnetic fields rotated and voltage transformed and electrons flowed 26 miles through bare copper cables strung on wooden poles. He worked constantly. His mind never stopped. He visualized inventions in 3 dimensions. He could rotate them mentally, examine them from every angle, see flaws before building, design without drawings, patent without prototypes. His brain was his laboratory. The physical world was merely confirmation. On November 15, 1896, his brain was at Niagara, even though his body was in New York. He traced the current path, calculated the voltage drop, estimated the power factor, checked the transformer ratios, visualized the street railway cars lurching forward at midnight, heard the hum of the motors, saw the lights come on, felt the victory. Tesla died penniless in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel on January 7, 1943, at age 86. He had few friends, little money, despite holding hundreds of patents, despite changing the world, despite making electricity accessible to billions. He died alone, broke, forgotten by most. George Westinghouse had never forgotten. Westinghouse covered all of Tesla's hotel expenses for the final years of his life, returning the favor, repaying the debt. Tesla saved Westinghouse Electric in 1896. Westinghouse supported Tesla until 1943. The friendship endured, the gratitude lasted. But it didn't make Tesla rich. It didn't give him the billions he deserved. It gave him a room, a place to die, a debt repaid. November 15, 1896. The final day before everything changed, Tesla knew the price. He paid it willingly. He chose progress over profit, vision over wealth, legacy over luxury. Was it worth it? Ask anyone who flips a light switch. Ask anyone who charges a device. Ask anyone who rides an electric train. Ask anyone who works in an air-conditioned office. Ask anyone who lives beyond walking distance from a power plant. Ask the modern world. The answer is obvious. Tesla won. Not financially, historically. His vision electrified the planet. His sacrifice enabled it. His genius made it possible. In them is exemplified the power of men, the greatness of nations, the love of art and religious devotion. But the monument at Niagara has something of its own, more in accord with our present thoughts and tendencies. It is a monument worthy of our scientific age. To the 28 workers who died in the tunnel, to the fortune Tesla surrendered, to the contract he tore up, to the laboratory that burned, to the years of struggle against Edison, to the physics that couldn't be denied, to the current that won. All powered by the Falls, all transmitted 26 miles, all using Tesla's alternating current. President William McKinley attended. He was assassinated there, shot twice by Leon Czolgosz on September 6, 1901. Died 8 days later. The city of light became the city of death. Progress doesn't prevent tragedy. Electricity doesn't stop bullets. Technology advances. Humans remain human. The Adams power plant operated until 1961. 65 years of continuous service. The original Westinghouse generators ran the entire time. Never replaced, never upgraded, just maintained. In 1961, the Robert Moses Niagara Power Plant and the Lewiston Pump Generating Plant opened. Bigger, more powerful, more efficient. The Adams plant closed. Power stations 1 and 2 were demolished in 1964. Only the transformer house survived. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. Stanford White's architectural vision preserved, but decaying, deteriorating, in danger of irreversible loss. Efforts to turn it into a Tesla museum have faced funding challenges. The building that helped electrify the world now struggles to keep its roof intact. Every city, every country, powered by the system Tesla designed and Westinghouse built and Niagara proved, the voltage, the frequency, the transmission, the transformation, all based on Tesla's patents from 1888. The polyphase, induction motor, the rotating magnetic field, the transformer system, the distribution method, all tested at Niagara, all proven on November 16, 1896 at midnight. All originating from the 24 hours before when Tesla sat in his hotel room and knew tomorrow would change everything. First 1,000 horsepower to street railway, 5,000 more ordered, midnight switch, November 16. Power flowed, Buffalo lit, world changed, contract torn, fortune lost, vision won. Did he pray? Did he doubt? The record is silent. We know he wasn't at Niagara. We know he was in New York. We know he had visited the plant on July 19th. We know he was delighted with what he saw. We know the generators were his design. We know the transformers were his system. We know the transmission proved his theory. We know the royalties were gone. We know the fortune was lost. We know the switch would flip. We know Buffalo would light. We know history would change. In between, he transformed the world. On November 15, 1896, he stood on the edge of proof, the theory becoming practice, the patents becoming power, the dream becoming distribution. The sacrifice already made, the fortune already surrendered, the contract already torn, the victory already certain, just 24 hours away. All because a Serbian immigrant saw a steel engraving as a child and made a promise: I will go to America and turn the power of the Falls into light. On November 16, 1896 at midnight, the promise was kept. On November 15, 24 hours before, Tesla waited for the world to catch up to his vision. 3,160 tons of water per second still fall over 160 feet. The mist still rises. The tourists still watch. But now the water works, diverted through tunnels, spun through turbines, converted to electricity, transformed to high voltage, transmitted long distance, stepped down for use, powering homes, lighting streets, moving trains, running factories, charging devices, connecting the world. All because of 24 hours in November 1896, when the final preparations happened, and the switch waited, and Tesla knew what was coming and the world didn't. Chemical analysis revealed copper particles, insulation fragments, transformer oil residue. The ground itself remembers what happened there. The earth holds the evidence. beneath the modern parking lot, beneath the demolished buildings, beneath the years of neglect. The foundation stones remain, the tunnel still exists, sealed but intact, the tail race still flows, redirected but functional. The history is buried but not gone. And somewhere in that ground, if you dig deep enough, you find the 24 hours before the switch. The final preparations, the last checks, the waiting, the knowing. Tesla in New York, the generators at Niagara, the transmission line ready, the transformer house complete, the street railway waiting, Buffalo dark, but not for long. The world on the edge of electrification, the modern age about to dawn, all waiting for midnight. All waiting for the switch. All waiting for Tesla's vision to light up 26 miles of copper cable and prove that alternating current could change everything. The day before Buffalo lit, the day before everything changed, the day history forgets, the day that mattered most.